Dinara Wagners Triumph beim Grand-Prix auf Zypern im Mai haben einige Leute mit dem Wimbledon-Sieg von Boris Becker 1985 verglichen, um so in etwa die Bedeutung dieses Ereignisses zu beschreiben. Und es kommt auch hin. Als große Außenseiterin hat sie sich in einem Weltklassefeld durchgesetzt, hat reihenweise Elitespielerinnen hinter sich gelassen und man kann auch an Zahlen ablesen, wohin sie das getragen hat. Sie ist nach deutscher Wertungszahl jetzt schon die deutsche Nummer 1. Dinara steht jetzt unter den Top 30 der Welt und nähert sich Regionen, in denen sie ernsthaft darüber nachdenken kann, ob sie es nicht vielleicht als Profi versucht. Ich hatte jetzt das Privileg und auch die Freude, mit ihr ein Interview zu führen über diesen Grand Prix-Erfolg und über alles, was danach kommt. Den Link dazu findet ihr in den Kommentaren. Und Dinara war so freundlich, nach dem Interview noch eine Partie aus dem Grand Prix von sich zu zeigen, nämlich genau die Partie, die ihr gleich in diesem Video seht. Ich wollte nur vorher das Ganze noch einordnen. Wir haben das Interview auf Deutsch geführt. Dinara lebt ja seit 1,5 Jahren fast in Heidelberg und ihr Deutsch ist super. Und sie wollte auch die Partie auf Deutsch zeigen, aber sie ließ dann durchblicken, so mit deutscher Schachsprache bin ich noch nicht so ganz vertraut. Ne? Wenn man so in den internationalen Großmeisterkreisen unterwegs ist, da ist dann die Sprache eher Englisch oder Russisch. Und sie fühlte sich im deutschen Schach noch nicht ganz sicher, wollte das aber versuchen, aber ich habe ihr gesagt, am liebsten so, wie es für dich am komfortabelsten ist. Und dann haben wir es doch auf Englisch gemacht. Nur das als Erklärung vorab, warum auf diesem eigentlich deutschen Kanal jetzt gleich Englisch zu hören ist. Dinara zeigt uns die Partie auf Englisch und manchmal stelle ich in meinem eingerosteten Englisch auch die eine oder andere Frage dazwischen. Das wollte ich nur vorweg schicken. Und will ansonsten nicht lange weiter reden, sondern lasst uns Schach genießen. Dinara zeigt jetzt eine Partie aus dem Grand Prix und was für eine Partie das ist und worum es da geht, erzählt sie uns alles selbst. Viel Spaß!
So can you first tell me a bit about the circumstances? It was the 6th round game and you already had a good start.
Yeah, this was the 4th round game. I was playing against Nana Dzagnidze with white and I already had one win in the first round and then third, fourth, second and third draw.
Okay. And your opponent, a word on her, she's a strong player, obviously.
She's a top Georgian player, number 1 in her country, who always plays very aggressively and very interesting chess. I like to watch her games. And I thought since I play with white, I can play just very solidly and then see if she makes a mistake somewhere. Try to be very aggressive and trying to win with black.
Yeah, and she might become over-ambitious maybe. So you felt you wouldn't need to do much yourself because the tries will come from the other side.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's see how this went.
She surprised me a bit in the opening because normally she plays here d5 or bishop b4, Bogolyubov. And here she decided to go for a6 because she knows that I play Catalan. And if I go g3 here, then black has an option to go b5. That is their idea, and be in time to put bishop to b7.
Yeah.
That's why after a6 I played knight c3, d5, and we transposed to Carlsbad structure where she has already pawn on a6.
Yeah, but that's quite modern. Don't they play all a6 in the Queen's Gambit as well these days?
Yeah, it happens. Like some play without, but in principle that one is one of the main lines as well, I would say. So we were both making moves quite quick here and both knew what to do. And I think the first time I surprised her was here because the main theory goes after short castle. Then black also does either h6 or c6 or short castle. And next move I go bishop f4. For example, c6, bishop f4, queen c7, queen d2. I remember I watched a video of Daniil Dubov from the World Championship match. He was doing the small recaps after each game, and there he said that this queen is more useful on d2 rather than c2, even after the dark square bishop side exchange.
I see. What's the point of the queen being on d2?
Right now I'm just protecting the f4 bishop.
Oh yeah. Okay, I understand you need to protect f4, but if I understand correctly, Dubov said in general it's more useful on d2. Why is that so? Okay.
For example, in some positions, will have somewhere plans to bring the knight by e2, c1 to g3, or to f3 to have another idea with e3, e4. But now we realize that queen on c2 would also do the same.
Yeah.
Well, probably it's just kind of protecting d4 in advance, and is more flexible there. Sometimes also f3 and queen f2 is possible to put it there.
Okay.
But I would say like right here, it's just doing the job of protecting the bishop, and black is not interested in taking on f4.
Yeah.
Because that would create e5 square for the knight, and also open e-file. Somewhere also f5 ideas when bishop is stuck. That's why black would need to move their knight to b6. But after bishop f4, she took immediate one f4 and played knight b6. And here was also an interesting moment because I think that was already small inaccuracy from black's side. They need to play bishop g4 here, trying to exchange this passive bishop for the knight, such that knight doesn't get a very comfortable e5 square.
Yeah.
And here, I guess Nana was afraid of queen e2 check, because she calculated that after queen e7, queen takes e7, king e7, knight e5, white has a big advantage and a very good position. And the bishop is still not exchanged. But the best move here is to play king f8, because king will always have a way via g6, king g7. And after h3, just ready to take it. And here the interesting move, probably others also work, but the one I like the most is to play knight b8. There it will just be much better than on d7, attacking d4 square, the d4 pawn.
Yeah.
And knight would need to eventually go to e2 to protect it.
Interesting, yeah. Well.
Knight has no problems. Next moves will be knight c6, g6, king g7, maybe h5 somewhere, and then just take e-file.
Yeah, but that's probably very hard to assess over the board, to play first king f8 and then knight b8 and see that that's the way to go. When you explain it, I get it, but sitting in front of it at the board, I cannot imagine playing that way.
Yeah, actually, I later found out that my trainer gave me this task as how would you play with black here.
Oh.
And I said something like c6 or I said c6. And then after the game, he told me that's why we decided not to play bishop f4 here, but to do castle, because black has this nice maneuver and they are doing just fine. But during the game, I didn't remember about it. Somehow I thought it goes like bishop f4. And I thought maybe she mixed something up, but not me. So anyway, she took on f4, ef, and after knight b6, my position is already very pleasant. I played knight e5, castle. Here, like for a short moment of time, I thought maybe I should go g4, g5 and start attacking the queen, but then the king, I realized it's too crazy. I should just castle, and objectively speaking, g4 is not a good move.
Yeah.
She would always have knight e4, and my king is just in trouble.
And that would be exactly from you what you expect from her, being over-ambitious and wanting too much from the position.
That's true. Maybe that's something I would have done in Blitz, just to spice things up. But in classical chess, castle is the best and the right move to make.
Okay.
She played queen d6 with the idea to start c5 and to activate her pieces. These moves I thought are very logical from both sides. I even have no comments to them. We are both developing, putting our pieces to the right squares. And here is the first moment where I could have played a bit stronger. Knight e2 was a nice idea to put knight to d4. What I didn't like was that after queen a5 she attacks my pawn, and if I just play a3 she would have time to play, for example, knight c4 with some counterplay. So I calculated this line that I will play knight e4, knight d4, rook c1, queen c1, rook c8. Now I have to go to e3 to protect my rook. And here, for example, she could have done something like queen a2 doesn't work here because knight on b6 is hanging.
You take on e6, yeah, okay, get it, yeah.
Yeah, that's why she has to play, or maybe she doesn't have to play, but she can play knight c4, and something like this I imagined, that if we get this position, I was not sure how good it is for me, because even though she has a very weak pawn on e6, it's not so easy for me to attack it, and she always has some c3 ideas to free up her rook and get a decent counterplay. For example, after knight f3, she has just rook e8, and a2, pawn a2 is still hanging. After h3, she can even play c3 still, because after taking, knight goes to d5 and attacks both pawns.
Okay, yeah.
After taking here, she can also take on a3. That's why I kind of briefly calculated this line. I didn't like it so much, and I saw that I would like to keep positioned how it is right now, just to put queen away. And that was not the best solution according to computer, but here she made her first mistake by playing d4. After the game, she told me that she miscalculated that pawn on d4 will be hanging. So how it happened, I gladly took on d5 because I saw that she has no way to protect d4 pawn. For example, she hoped for rook d8 that I cannot take on d4 because of bishop g2. But after f3, I still have this idea. She put her knight away, still hoping that if I take on d4, there will be f6, f6, knight g4, and still bishop f3. And my pieces on d file are hanging. But there is a nice move rook d1, which protects the bishop, protects the knight on d4 in advance, and she has to lose this pawn.
And d4 will be gone very soon, yes.
Exactly. She also quite soon realized it and decided that she just needs to give this pawn for having time to put her pieces to the right places. And here I saw that my position is much better. I have a pawn up. Even though it's a double pawn, it's not so clear how will I convert this position. And maybe in this moment it would have made sense probably to play with rooks, but I was sure that this position, after we exchange all the pieces and I have a knight against bishop, must be winning. Because here she has to defend b7 pawn, so she put her knight to d5. I exchange it, and here the exchanges are more or less inevitable, since I will take on d5 twice at some point, like already here. And this was the critical and I think the most interesting position of the game. In principle, this ending, to my mind, is not so easy, because even though I have a pawn up, it's doubled. I have to
you cannot create a passer. That's the problem.
Yeah, and her bishop is quite active. I had to come up with a clear plan how to convert this position, and fortunately, I didn't. Later on, when I analyzed this game, I came to the conclusion that the easiest way was to provoke her pawns by moving them, attacking them. After b5, I attack the pawn again, and she plays a5. It was important to provoke the pawn from b6 to go to b5, since I will have a c5 square for my queen in the future.
Okay.
Just go, for example, king d3, she attacks, and then knight e4. Okay, maybe she doesn't have to do d6 because it's under check, but to play somehow like b4, but still I go there. And after bishop d5, somehow I saw that she would have some a4 ideas either here or later, and if these pawns would get exchanged, I will have nothing. It would be just draw with 4 against 3. But actually, this position is winning for white.
Oh.
Yeah, this was, I think, the easiest way, and somehow I was.
I don't. The plan is to now activate the king. You have the more active king and just move it to the queen side. That's how you proceed, or how is this winning? What's the plan here too?
Yeah, exactly. My plan is to bring king to c5. If she allows me, that would be perfect. If she plays some a4, I just ignore it. I still go king g4. Now that I look at this position, it looks.
Then you get the b4.
Yeah, get the b pawn. And if she doesn't, then I go to b6 and get the a pawn.
Okay.
And if she plays, for example, somehow like this, still she's not even in time to play a4 here. And yeah, this was the easiest solution. And yeah, somehow I looked in completely other direction. I saw that it's good for me to provoke other side, to make her play g6, and then to start first creating a pass pawn on the queen flank, and only then to deal with the king's flank, or other way around. First to pass pawn on the king side, and only then provoke something on the king's queen side. So after knight g3, she played g6, and after e5, g5, my idea was somewhere to put my king to the center, play f4, then h4, g5, create this pawn, and somehow outmaneuver her with the knight. Unfortunately, it was not as easy as it might look, because here, after we did some logical moves, just moving, I didn't want to let her play a4. For example, here a4 is not possible because I double attack the pieces. But after bishop f7, I already don't let her play her a4 idea. And here I have a clear plan. First to put king to d4, then maybe when she goes queen d6 to play knight e4, and then somewhere start with f4. That's how it happened, actually. Yeah, here I gave check, and this was another critical moment. The correct plan was to put a knight to d2, and then immediately start with f4, with creating a pawn, pass pawn. Somehow I saw that for me it's good to have a pawn on the dark square, controlling c5 square, such that her king never has a way to a2 pawn via c5, d4, a3.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to put all pawns to the black squares, as it's like, and to provoke her pawns to the white squares because she has a light square bishop. But a3, I guess, already was last mistake I made. It doesn't look so. It looks like, okay, a3, b4 is quite logical, but I should have played here immediately f4, and after gf, I think first check, and then put knight to c3, and only then to get this pawn. Or maybe I can even do it here immediately to go. I don't know, it was not so easy for me. I wanted to do the same, but with the pawn already on b4, which looked logical, then she would never have any, again, like king c5 ideas anywhere.
Yeah, to me it sounds absolutely logical what you're doing.
Yeah.
So what's the downside of having the pawn on b4 as it was played?
Yeah, the downside is that I try to do the same things here. First to go here and then king s3, trying to do f4. But even if I manage to play f4, unfortunately she doesn't have to take on f4. In those positions as well, but there I could still keep my knight on d2 and somewhere try to play h4. Here I guess bishop already has more mobility. Pawns a2 and b3 already don't restrict him as much. And after bishop d1, there is unfortunately nothing to find anymore.
So the downside is the black bishop comes in, and now g4 is a weak spot, and that wouldn't have happened with the pawns on a2, b3.
Yes. Also, later on, even if I manage to somehow have both f4 and h4 done, and I then promote g5, we exchange all the pawns. I have f pawn left. For example, I will just give some line to show how it could have gone. For example, something like this. I managed what I always wanted to do. I created this pawn, but even this position turns out to be just a draw.
Oh.
Because even if I, let's say, played like this, and why did everything they dreamed of, having the king restricted, and now I go to pick up the b5 pawn. Unfortunately, she's just
you don't get in with the king, right?
Yeah, I get in, but they just play b5, and whenever I get in, they have these tortures, because whenever I take on b5, they would collect a pawn on f6.
Oh yes.
And had two pawns on a2 and b3, and she would have had a pawn on b6, a5. Already when I collect 2 pawns, it's an easily winning position.
Oh, what a pity.
Yeah, so...
But you still tried a bit, right?
Yeah, I still tried a bit to create some chances. I was trying to exchange these 2 pawns on g4 and f5 for b6 pawn, trying to promote it. But she was just in time to solve all the problems. Here, f5 pawn is gone because of bishop c2 check. And after taking, bishop can even at some point get sacrificed.
Yeah.
Because those 2 pawns are very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was a draw. How did you feel afterward? A long game without the desired result?
At first, I didn't know about this knight c3, knight a4, knight c5 plan. And I thought, okay, it was not so easy to assess that I shouldn't exchange a pawns, which looked very logical to me. And I was not really upset. I thought, yeah, I had some good chance, but this happened.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not enough.
Yeah. Maybe that was not the most interesting game, but I saw that you already commented 3 of my win games.
Yeah. I picked the wins, of course, yeah.
And the other win was also very long and a bit boring. So I saw that this game.
No, I find this highly interesting. The structure-wise in the opening, and the exchange on f4, and that is, as you said, favorable for white already. As soon as bishop takes f4, e4 is played. I don't know, my chess kids from my club would say, wow, now I have an isolated pawn and a double pawn, this can't be good for me. I think that's a bit of chess wisdom that you put in there to explain that this is good for white instead, and also the endgame play. No, that's a nice game. I know that I was thinking about doing a video of this one, but I didn't quite understand the ending, and I would have to put a lot of work into to really get it right, and so I skipped it. And I don't know what I did on that day. I did something else, obviously. No, thank you.